What is going on? All right.
There we go.
He says we're live, but it's saying there's an error. Y'all see us or not? We have no clue. One thing saying we're live and another says there's an error. If we can't see us, is that it? Are we live?
We shall see.
Do y'all
I
see
don't
us?
know. This thing changes every week. It's always something different. Okay, guys, you just want to tell us if you can hear us and see us because it's saying that something has happened here.
Well, this shows okay, and that shows us okay, but the main screen, yeah, they're saying yeah.
Okay.
All right. If y'all know we're here and we know we're here, the computer may not know we're here.
Okay.
Ah.
We are okay. Yes, you're on. Well, the computer gives us all these weird things. It says, you can't go live right now. We're like, well, why can't we?
It's not available.
They said it's not available. I said, I don't know why it's not. I'm sitting here looking at it, you know.
So I'm Wanda. He's Danny. And this is
Deep South Homestead.
We just get a little carried away sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially trying to get on live right quick.
Loud.
I am drinking out of my
Praise the Lord and pass the coffee.
And I am drinking Mexican hot chocolate with mini marshmallows in it. And so we're going to see how it goes tonight.
Well.
They're saying it's trying to play an ad with when you have an ad blocker. Well, I don't have ad blocker. Okay. So everybody's popping in, and we've been chatting with some people ahead of time. And I told y'all, bring your crazy questions for Danny tonight. We're going to see if we can stump him or something like that with something weird. But anyway, we'll get to the questions in a little bit.
Yeah.
We're going to stump you.
Well, I mean,
somebody did last time, and I thought
they
it was
did
funny.
last time, and I don't remember what it was, but I didn't lie. I told him I did not know. Yeah.
He'll tell y'all. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, well, today's been a pretty busy day. I mean, I started off at daylight this morning. I'm talking about at daylight. Plowing potatoes with the Hoss tool, double wheel, high arch, or is it high arch double wheel hoe?
Either way.
Either way. Anyway, about wore myself out, but I got them fertilized and I got them plowed first thing this morning.
Yeah. And then
we got a picture of them?
The potatoes, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a picture of them.
I'm behind. There's the potatoes. Don't they look nice? There's 1, 2, 3, 5 rows. You can't tell 3 of them aren't as up as well as 2 of them because it was, what kind were these over here that were? They're up, but the way I took the picture.
The way you took the picture, you took it at a bad angle.
Well, it was late and I was in a hurry.
Yeah. Anyway, I got those plowed. I also plowed the other garden. You didn't get it though, did you?
No.
I got both of them plowed. And
I didn't go get it because I was cleaning and doing stuff, and then we had company.
Yep.
Sheena and her husband came by, and we walked around and talked, and they live, what, 15, 20 minutes from us?
About 15 minutes from us. Maybe not even 15 minutes. Probably closer than that. Yeah.
Thank you, Idaho
Hoosier.
Building my raised beds now in my dining room. Excited, concerned since I went 9B to 6B. Got to learn all over again. A short grow time. Julie. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, that's, well, anytime you change zones, oh my goodness, it's totally different. I've changed zones a couple times in my life, and it's definitely a learning curve. Definitely.
Yeah. I Am a Me was saying something about T-shirts. Now, I have the Deep South T-shirt on tonight, right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's kind of like my Crazy Days, but it's Deep South, and I've got it in 2 colors. I've got it in pink, and I've got it in the gray. I thought Danny might would wear the gray, but he's not crazy about the hearts. But these shirts are on sale right now for $12 a piece, and it's Stellar Days threadless. I don't know where my moderators are on the phone. They'll get back in a little bit, but stellardays.threadless.com, I think, or something, and then Deep South Homestead at the end, or South Homestead, something like that. But I'll try and put the link in a description on these T-shirts later.
Yeah, it's, you know, we had a great visit with them today, with Sheena and her husband. We went around, we looked at some different things. They were interested in some projects of their own. They're having a little bit of trouble getting some things to grow. We talked about that.
Because they're coming from Missouri to Mississippi.
Yeah.
And she knew about Missouri, but she said the sand and stuff in Mississippi is giving her fits.
The thing that I couldn't figure out was, why would somebody move from Missouri to Mississippi? It's like everybody's moving from Mississippi to Missouri.
Yeah.
But they went from Missouri to Mississippi. Now I thought that was a little bit strange.
Okay.
Danny, what is your opinion on pole barn homes with metal side? I think, Leslie, I think it's really a cool idea. At one point, I was going to do one myself. I had a company hired that was going to actually build the barn. I was going to get one in the shape of a barn, and with the gambrel roof on it and all that kind of stuff, and an upstairs balcony and all that kind of stuff built in it. And then I was just going to pour me a slab in it, and you know, have me a nice home. But Wanda and I married not shortly after that, and we decided to keep this house and not actually build the other style that I was looking at. So, but I think they're really a good deal.
Somebody asked a question I was going to answer further back, and I don't know who it was, and I don't remember the question. But if we don't answer your questions, put them all in caps and rerun it again, and maybe we can see it, because the chat runs kind of fast, and I saw that we had some problem, but I think Mark Kruger got it, one of my moderators, and my other moderators are kind of AWOL right now for some reason. One of them's talking to their grandchild. I know she just messaged. So
yeah.
And the other one, there's Country Homestead Preacher. They're in there too. Okay, they'll catch them. If somebody's doing something, my moderators are pretty good. What is your suggestion for insulation in a shed to house building in north central Alabama?
From shed
to a house.
To a house. You're probably, John Mansville carries an insulation that is a formaldehyde-free insulation that is a sound and thermal barrier insulation. And I would go with as high R value as I could get in the walls. If it's a 3.5-inch wall, a 2x4 wall, I would go with an R15 because that's about as high as you can go. And you know, if it's a 2x6, you can go as high as R27, I believe. Possibly R30 if you get the right insulation.
Marina, we have not built a sun oven. Let's see. Hackett's Healing Hollow. What should I fertilize my garlic with?
Calcium nitrate. Calcium nitrate is a go-to fertilizer for everything, actually, because you get your calcium and you get your nitrogen in it. And garlic, as well as any of your allium family, is a very heavy nitrogen feeder. So it works out really well for them. Okay,
I'm going to show something right quick.
Okay.
Dustin sent this today, y'all. Isn't that beautiful? It's a pepper mill. I don't have any peppercorns in it, so it don't make any racket, but you would take and put peppercorns in here. It goes to the cabin, y'all. It matches all my other stuff. Isn't that awesome? Thank you, Dustin. I had to do that before I forget.
When did we plant the potatoes? They've been in the ground now probably close to a month.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask.
Yeah. Back in mid-February we planted them. There was a question about moles that went by.
Thank you, Roman. He said he got our books, and he said, thank you for signing them.
Oh, okay. Somebody asked about how we control moles. There is a product called Mole Away. I'm not sure where, did we get that from Shumway? Well, I forgot where we got it from. Was it Gurney?
Shumway.
We got it from Shumway's, called Mole Be Gone, or I think it's either like Mole Be Gone or something like that. All it is really is castor bean. It's a castor bean type stuff because castor beans are toxic. and you put them in the hole with the moles, and it's supposed to drive them away. You just put some down in the hole.
At one time had castor bean seeds.
We
just
did.
Hadn't planted
we haven't
any.
planted them yet. Yeah.
But if you could get some castor beans and plant, but just know that is toxic to some things. So you got to be careful when you plant things like castor beans.
Idaho Hoosier said one to the top of that should have salt. This? At the top of it.
It says P, pepper.
It's got a P on it for pepper.
Yeah, it's a pepper mill. I think that's what. Unless you're Dustin and it's the wrong thing, tell me that. But I mean, I like the pepper mill because we're hoping to grow our peppercorns.
Yeah.
They're back up again. And so I was excited because of the peppercorns in the greenhouse, in my greenhouse. I thought, this is awesome because I'll have if I can grow my own peppercorns, I can put them in this. So that's pretty awesome.
Doug S. says, how often do you water your seedlings? Not very often, because what I do is I cut, we put our seedlings in solo cups and we cut notches in the bottom of them. And I put them in plastic totes and put about 1 inch of water in the bottom of it, and I just set them over in it, and it lasts for weeks. I mean, it doesn't even, you can get by a good week or week and a half without having to do any watering.
They said old Alabama gardener got his reward for 100,000. It was so sweet. We didn't get a reward for 100,000. We just hit 100,000, and
they didn't do nothing. YouTube did not do anything for us. They gave us a check, a little check mark.
Yeah, we got our little check mark, and y'all, we hit 165,000 today. I was checking, and just before we came on, we hit 165,000 subscribers. 25,300,000 views. And 1 million of those was this past month. We hit 1 million views in 1 month. Isn't that awesome? Yep. And what else? There was something else. We're over 2,000 over 2,000
videos now.
So y'all got plenty of videos. If instead of asking, hey, can you make a video on, go type whatever you're wanting, Deep South Homestead, and see if we've already made a video on it. We've got a lot.
Wanda, lid over cooking hamburger steak or no? If you don't want grease popped all over everything, it's yes.
I don't use a lid very often. I don't like to use lids because I'm really different, I guess. Danny says I need a splatter guard, though. That's something I've never really used either, but I do need a splatter guard. I do need to get one of those.
RB says, Danny, do y'all grow cherries? We just planted our first cherry tree in the high tunnel this year. A small sweet cherry, the Barbados cherry. So we're going to try it and see if it works all right.
Oh, the other thing was, we were going to talk about, it's been 5 years. We have been on YouTube 5 years.
We have been here 5 years and, let's see, January, February, March, April.
3 months.
5 years and 3 months.
Yes, we started in December.
Actually, 4 months. We started about mid-December.
Yeah, December of 2015. So we've been doing this for 5 years, and like you said, almost 4 months. We put up a video a day, every day, except for maybe once or twice. We've not missed very often. Some days we've put up 2 videos a day.
Yeah.
And since I've started Crazy Days, I have put up as many as 3 and 4 videos because of Patreon too.
Yeah, plus Patreon, yeah.
We've got a lot of videos out there. And if you don't know, Crazy Days is my channel. Y'all go over and subscribe. I put up videos over there. I showed Danny the Weeping Willow today. It's just a little short. Sometimes I'll do a short, and some of my videos are not very long over there. So if you like shorter videos, most of them are shorter than Deep South videos.
Oh my gosh, how many plants is too many plants for a homestead? I'm planting over 10,000.
Good.
Well, it depends on how big your family is. You know, if you have a big family, it may not be too many.
Well, I mean, if we counted all that we planted with between corn, peas, sweet potatoes, it would be a lot if we added up every single thing we did. I mean, I think 10,000 sounds like crazy, outrageous, but when I think about it, there's no telling how many English peas we planted, right?
Oh gosh, there's no telling how many English peas. No.
And then time we plant all the green beans.
All the green beans and the corn and all that kind of stuff. No, it's not too many.
Yeah, so that sounds good and reasonable. It sounded like a lot at first, but
And
it's
John
really
Hendrickson
reasonable.
says, "Good Lord, I've been watching 5 years."
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. John's been with us for a long time.
He has. Mr. John's been a faithful subscriber. Yeah.
And he's very good to boost our. He's our support system, I guess you might say. Somebody wants to know, is Amanda okay? Amanda's doing fine.
I guess Amanda's okay. She doesn't talk to us. She doesn't have anything to do with us anymore. She just lives over there. Her and Paul do their own thing.
We don't even see them.
We don't even see them. They're busy trying to get a high tunnel up. Yeah. They're getting the ground prepared, getting ready for a company to come in and install it for them.
Possibly next month.
Yeah, so, you know, they're doing their thing. And, you know, that's the thing about homesteading. Even though we're neighbors, if we need something, we can go to each other, but we don't just go bothering each other, you know.
And they seem to be doing really well. Sunshine's growing.
Oh, so. She's like she's a young lady now.
Yeah, she's not a little kid anymore.
Yeah, she's not a little girl anymore. A little tall. She's grown up tremendously.
I think you guys started before 2015. When did Danny have his gallbladder out? It has been longer. No, Danny had his gallbladder out in 2017, I believe.
I think it was 17, yeah.
It was either 16 or 17. I can't remember. Because we started in December of 2015.
Yeah, because we went back a while ago and looked just to be sure.
Yeah. Susan says, I remember when you had 7,000. I remember when I was happy to see 6 people.
Oh, yeah, I remember we was happy to have
Arms was our number 6. Arms Family Homestead. Daniel Arms was number 6. I'll always remember that for as long as I can. And we were chatting back and forth with him. We had 6 and he had 6 or 7, something like that. We were about the same on each one. It was amazing.
How many peas are in an English pea pod? Well, it depends on the variety that you have. Ours usually have about 5 to 6 peas in each pod. Some of them can have up to 10. I mean, it depends on the variety. They're asking, is Paul and Amanda a couple? They are, I guess you call them a couple. I mean, they're partners, if you want to call them that. They live in the same house, and they're, so I guess you call them that. I don't think they're married. Of course, I don't know. I don't go prying in their business.
So, a couple.
They're a couple.
Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
What should I look for after 3 months with fig cuttings?
After 3 months, you should be able to have a little tree with roots and some leaves on it. About a foot tall, maybe.
Sinclair, you're not going to get away with much because you got Gemini Homestead and she's just on it.
Ms. Lippy's on it. Her and Country Homestead Preacher is on it.
And Gossmania. So we have 3 people.
How often do you get up to Columbia? Not very often, but we do every so often.
Maybe 2 to 3 times a year.
About 2-3 times a year. Yeah.
I'm due a trip shortly. You guys and the whole group here are my church.
So thankful.
Great. Susan's been with us a long time.
Susan's been with us for a while.
Christy Betts has been with us a long time. Yeah. I do know that. There's 4 kids in the farm. Hey, can I tell them about the Tell
them about the new challenge.
Now, 4 Kids in a Farm started this last year. If y'all watched us last year, we had a sunflower showdown. And 4 Kids in a Farm are out in California. And I was going to take the picture that they designed, and I forgot, so I don't have it up. But anyway, go to 4 Kids in a Farm and look at their video explaining this. It is going to be a pumpkin challenge this year. You have to grow one of 4 different varieties of Hostool pumpkins. Everybody's invited to join, and there's going to be the same channels that were there last year, which was 4 Kids in a Farm, Hostools, Adler Farms, Naked Hog, and Deep South. And I'm the only woman, and last year I planted little bitty sunflowers, and they grew taller than their big sunflowers. So technically I won. Just saying, 4 Kids in a Farm.
Okay.
You got another question?
There's lots of questions going by. Okay, one of them, what kind of cherry tree, and are they real cherries? It's called a Barbados cherry, and as far as I know, it's called a southern sweet cherry. It's supposed to be okay. I don't know. There was some more questions went by, and I done totally forgot what they were. But
let them put them back. I wanted to say one other thing. Hey, guys, y'all have to measure your pumpkin at the end when it's grown and see how much it weighs. And if you'll hashtag Deep South Homestead every time, because I want to know who from ours does this, and yeah, that would help if you'd pop that chat out. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I want to know if one of our people wins. So I would like if you put Hoss tools and different things in there, put Deep South in there too, so I know ours does.
Thank you, Charlotte. We really appreciate that.
She's in 7B.
7B in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Took me just a second there, guys. I may have missed something. I had to go out and expand the chat where we could see it.
See, 4 Kids says I won for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Mine was 12 foot and something, and I think most all of them were pretty getting close, but maybe not quite at around the 12 foot anyways.
Stan said I bought two wild plum trees at a weekend this past weekend in Missouri wildfires. If you bought the wild ones, get ready to mow down the sprouts because they're going to pop up everywhere and they're going to have thorns on them. Oh,
there is a $200 prize on this largest pumpkin too. So y'all, it's a Hoss Tools $200 Hoss Tool Seeds gift certificate, I think. Encouraging.
David asked the question, do I have any tomatoes in the ground yet? Well, that brings up a really good subject right there.
We got a video on that.
We have a video coming up on this here, what I'm fixing to talk about. The guys, get ready. If what they're saying is true, the end of this month and the 1st of April, we are fixing to be set for another Arctic blast. The Deep South is going to get hit with snow, and there's going to be freezing temperatures, way below freezing wind chills and all that kind of stuff headed down to the Deep South, and going to go all the way down to the Bahamas toward the end of March and the 1st of April. Now, they don't know the exact location of every part of it just yet. There's going to be some severe weather outbreaks toward the end of this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so I know there's several people ask stuff, but now does a plum tree need a pollinator? They're going to have to put them back, repost.
Any of your trees, they may say they're self-pollinating, but if you want a good crop, you need a pollinator.
Oh my, Debbie says they're having a banana pudding festival in Cookeville, Tennessee next month. Now, we went to Cookeville, Tennessee 4 years ago.
Yep.
Enjoyed it, but now my daddy could make one of the best banana puddings ever, and it was from scratch, all scratch. It wasn't in that vanilla pudding stuff in it or banana pudding. It was all from scratch.
Yeah, everybody's saying, Ghost Man was like, what?
That is why we did not.
That's why we have tomato plants. I have tomato plants this tall. They're like a foot tall, and they need to be in the ground. We had no choice. My squash were getting ready to bloom in the pots, so we had to put them, and we put most of them in the greenhouse, high tunnel, and then we moved a couple outside, and then I put my spaghetti squash had to go outside. I mean, we're just going to have to try to cover them and try to see if we can, make it through this next cold spell with them. Because
is it hitting Texas?
Yes, it's going to hit Texas. It's going to come right smack through the middle of Texas and go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, slam to the Bahamas, and back up the East Coast.
But we don't know how cold and how far down. But we are supposed to get 30s.
We're supposed to be in the 30s.
High 30s?
Yeah, we know it below freezing.
Oh, you said the wind chill was below the freezing.
The wind chill factor is supposed to be way below freezing for us here in the Deep South.
Yeah. So we haven't even planted our green beans or snap beans out in the field. I saw lots of people are planting this weekend, and I'm like, I hope they didn't jump the gun, because we were fixing to. And then we decided, man, let's wait just a little bit. We might be a little late than usual, because we usually have stuff planted by now.
Well, we usually have stuff in the field by now.
Our tomatoes were out last year at this time.
Yeah, we're out on schedule with everything, but this is the grand solar minimum I've been telling you guys about. It's going to keep getting worse every year for the next 15 years. And it's just one of those things.
Maybe a week.
It may be a week or so longer each time, but you're going to get those freak storms that's going to come through, and it's going to be bad. Now, they're talking about some extreme severe weather this coming weekend, the latter part of this week into the weekend, before the actual cold gets here. There's going to be several low pressures that's going to form in Texas and going to fall down into the Gulf of Mexico and come up across Mississippi and go up through Alabama just like they did before on the 17th.
Who's the guy you watch? What's his name?
I didn't get a chance to go back and get the name of the channel. I'm not going to say it.
He can't remember the name of the channel.
Well, I know the guy's name. He's a sabbatical worshiper. Gosh, I know who he is.
He wanted to go look it up before he said the wrong thing.
I don't want to tell you the wrong channel.
But Danny said he has not missed any of the cold fronts yet.
He predicts them a month out, and I have not seen him miss one yet. Now, he may not get the exact location perfect on every little line or detail on it, but he gets it almost perfect every time. And
so we saw that, and we decided not to plant yet. And we didn't put a bunch of stuff outside. Danny's tomato plants really need to be outside.
My tomato plants need to be outside. They need to be in the ground.
Well, see, Cul-de-sac said they got a freeze in May last year. And so that's the problem. Danny and I, about 4 or 5 years ago, planted outside early. 1st of March, we had plants up this big, all on that back hill out there. And luckily, he had enough oatmeal containers and different stuff.
Yeah.
We covered like, what, 50, 75 tomatoes and squash and all kinds of stuff. We covered a whole bunch of them that year. And some of them did actually live and make it. Not all of them, but most of them.
Do I put any faith or any stake in the Old Farmer's Almanac about the weather? If you'd asked me this question back in the 60s and 70s, I would have said yes. But now that we're into the new age, I don't put as much faith and stake into it because they're not taking into consideration the grand solar minimum that we're going into. They're just, they're missing it more and more in the last few years.
All right.
How far apart do you need to separate heirloom from hybrids? 100 yards.
It wasn't Mike Morales, was it? No.
No, it wasn't Mike Morales.
I didn't think that was it.
No. Is it Sasha Dobler? No. Sasha and I, no, I know Sasha Dobler. It's not him.
Is it
This is a weather guy.
Is it Weatherman Plus?
Weatherman Plus.
Is that it?
I'm pretty sure it's Weatherman Plus.
Okay.
He's a young guy. He doesn't do his weather on Friday afternoon till Saturday afternoon because he's a Sabbath worshiper. And he always has a Bible reading usually at the end of his thing.
Is the weather guy named Mark?
Mark is his name, yes.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
All right, yeah. So Weatherman Plus is the name of the channel, and it is Mark.
Mark, yes.
So check him out.
Check him out. And go look at his forecast. And I'm telling you, I've been watching him for quite a while, and he just does not miss it.
Yeah. You can.
I mean, you got to look. They have the Euro model and the GFS model on the weather. They'll differ a little bit, but usually if you find the common ground between the two of them, you can pretty much nail it every time.
Okay.
Do I plant by the signs? I do when I can, but with this weather like it is, I just plant when I have the opportunity.
Okay, so I got to show them some cool.
There we are. That's the front pond. Miss Candy, you know her. She's got to be the first. She's wading off out into it.
She's the first one that fell into the pond, and we were afraid she was going to drown, and she just fell off and tumbled the first day we let them in. But she's the one that keeps going out to the pond. So all the cows are doing really good. We have people asked about the cows all the time and the ponds.
Swafford Homestead says, I watch POW Ponder. I actually know who you're talking about. I do watch him sometimes.
Can y'all do more garden videos, like videos in the garden?
We probably will this year. We'll do a lot more in the garden showing hands-on. The problem is when we do a hands-on video in the garden, we don't get any views. People would rather
see us talk.
They'd rather see a sitting talking head than they would somebody actually doing the job. That blows our mind. I mean, literally, we can put a video up of us out in the garden working, and we just get no views at all.
Yeah. And I'm toying with something. We've got a lot of regular people that watch us when we put up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but YouTube tells us our main watch time is 5 o'clock
In
in the
the
afternoon.
afternoon.
So that's when they recommend that we put our videos up as 5 p.m. instead of 4 or 5 a.m. So I'm toying with the idea of taking 1 week, and I might do it this week. So if we're not up at 4 p.m., you'll see the one the day before, but your notification would come in at 5 p.m. instead of 4 a.m., if that makes sense. I don't know. We would just kind of see if it helps our views any at all.
What was
Plus,
the Weatherman's channel's name again?
Weatherman Plus.
Weatherman Plus, and it's Mark.
So hit the like, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, comment. All these things help us get into a different algorithm. So I appreciate it.
Eagle Lover from Texas says, okay, let's talk about what to do to cover the veggies.
You got a lot of oatmeal containers?
Get you some flower pots. I mean, anything you can come up with to cover everything with, you know.
Old sheets.
Well,
we have ground cover, a row cover.
It's not going to do any good for what's coming.
If it gets too cold,
what we're going to end up doing, I'm going to tell you what we're going to end up doing. If any of y'all know what PEX tubing is, you can buy PEX tubing in 10-foot lengths. It's in blue and red. We're going to end up taking 3/8 rebar. You can buy it at a hardware store in 2-foot lengths. And we're going to drive them in the ground over our places where our things are planted. And we're going to run that PEX tubing over the rebar and make a hoop out of it over to the other side. And I learned this from Grow Family Network. If you do it in a square and you bend the tubing over, you can make a crisscross like this here over the top of something, and you can wrap plastic around it, and you can actually salvage trees and everything like that. So.
But how would you do a whole bunch of plants? Now that's going to be the.
Well, you'd have to just do a long row. I mean, or however long your row is. Or if you had a raised bed.
See, a lot of them are there first thing in the morning. So.
Yeah.
If I posted at 5 in the evening, then our morning people will miss the coffee because they'd see it at 5 in the evening. So I don't know. I don't know if I will or not. It's hard to break a habit. Folgers cans and Carnation creamers.
Anything you can find to stick over a plant. We done that. We used oatmeal boxes. I mean, we took gallon milk jugs and cut them off. We did whatever we could do to cover stuff.
Make hoops with tubing. Yep.
Yep.
If this cold snap shows up and potatoes are in the ground, do we need to cover them?
As long as they're not sticking up out of the ground, you don't have to worry about them. But if they're sticking up out of the ground like ours, like a foot tall,
we may have to go.
We have to take a hoe and go through there if it's going to get down below freezing. We may have to take a hoe and just go through and cut them off and let them come back again.
We'll wait till we know for sure.
We'll wait till the day of.
Yeah, if we know it's going to get down below 32 for any amount of time, I'll go through and hoe them all off. I did that 2 years ago, and we made some of the best potatoes we've ever made. We didn't let the tops freeze and go into the ground and ruin our potatoes.
Yeah, do I need to take my tomato plants inside or can I leave them on the carport? I have no clue about that. It depends on how cold it is where you're at. Anything below 40 degrees, you need to take a tomato plant inside. Let me say that.
Does the weatherman Mark talk about the West Coast or Indiana?
He talks about the whole United States. Literally the whole United States.
Nocturnal says berry plants. I need help with those. What kind of berries? It
depends on what kind of berries they are. All berry plants are heavy feeders. They need lots of mulch. They need lots of just good fertilization from compost and stuff like that.
Yeah, everybody's saying they're early morning. See, I'd mess everybody's morning.
Yeah,
I can't mess y'all's morning up.
No.
So I've got more people still watching in the morning, so I have to just stick with mornings. Looks like YouTube don't know what they're talking about, right?
Luke's story says, I want to be good at potatoes, but when I plant them, they grow but don't grow tall. Potatoes is kind of an iffy thing. Potatoes are heavy nitrogen feeders, but if you put too much nitrogen, you get all plant and no potatoes. You need a lot of phosphorus with potatoes, and you need a lot of potassium with potatoes. But you also need a moderate amount of nitrogen, but not too much nitrogen. You need just a little bit, but more phosphorus and more potassium.
All right, so Doug asked this before, and this was a question I was trying to remember. When you plant sugarcane, or they plant it, how can they press it without that press that we have?
You have to cut it into small pieces and put it in a pot and boil it if you want to get the stuff out of it. But if you don't have a press, you're just out of luck. I mean,
Jan says she saves feed bags to cover things, and that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. Mr. Ferguson asked, can you cover the small potato plants? Yes, you can actually put dirt over the plant, and it won't hurt anything.
Yeah, potatoes just kind of keep coming out of the dirt.
Nadia says, is this going to affect Zone 10B? They said, Mark said that it's going to go all the way to the Bahamas, the southern tip of Florida, Key West, down in Florida, down that way, is going to get down to 60 degrees, that far down.
No, Mary, we can't. And once we put a video up, it's up. I can't schedule it for 2 different times. It would just be one. And people see us at 5 o'clock. But I think what they're saying is we get a good many views first thing in the morning. But at 5 o'clock in the evening, when people get off from work, I guess they're tuning in a lot. So most of our views come from that time of the day.
They want to know what's my thoughts on PEX. We use PEX all the time. I think PEX will not freeze and bust. It is actually a better source for water pipes than anything I've come across.
Thank you, Sheila. I seen Quake Lake made it in from.
No, she's in a way while ago. Would 6-10-10 be good for potatoes? Yes, that's good for potatoes. Anything that has a low nitrogen and a high potassium and a high phosphorus is good for potatoes.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I fertilized my potatoes today and plowed them today. So, you know, mine's almost a foot tall, some of them. So I may be in trouble.
Yeah. So we said, Mama J says, I'm growing sugarcane from seed, and the first growing help. Our sugarcane
doesn't make seed. We now Zach from American Homestead has some sugarcane that grows from seed. I don't actually have the seed for any of them like that. Now sorghum grows from seed, which is not sugarcane, it's sorghum. There is a total difference in between them. Sorghum grows where in a cooler climate, where sugarcane does not grow up there.
Yeah, so I see 2 families popped in. So we got another moderator. Maybe you could use your holiday light string to keep tomatoes warm under the row covers.
That's a thought. You might could do that.
Just a little bit of light maybe might help.
When is the weather prediction going to happen in Louisiana? They're saying starting Wednesday and Thursday of this week and go all the way to the middle of next week or toward the end of next week. If we cut potatoes, will they grow back and produce? Yes. If you cut them off, they'll grow right back and produce. If it's going to freeze, you don't have to worry.
So Jesus says that everyone puts videos up between 4 and 5 where she is. Then she has to pick and choose. In the mornings, there's only a couple. Well, that was kind of the deal. We've been doing videos, like I said, for 5 years. And most of the time we were doing it, 5 o'clock in the morning? We started out at 6 in the morning. Then we had a lot of people that were East Coast. So we bumped it back up to 5. And a lot of channels got to throwing theirs up at 5. So everybody was having to pick and choose. So Danny and I bumped it up to 4 so that we were ahead of everybody and people wouldn't have to choose, you know. Not necessarily that we were ahead, I guess, but we just decided since everybody else was doing 5, we did 4. And so we just left it at 4. We've not changed it.
What's the difference between sorghum and sugarcane? Sugarcane grows in a warmer climate, makes a lot larger stalk, has a lot more syrup in it. Sorghum grows a lot taller. It has a seed head on top of it. It looks just like corn. It just grows a lot taller, and it's a lot skinnier, and it takes way more stalks of it than it does sugarcane to make syrup out of.
Okay, somebody was asking about grow boxes. He said that his mom had not couldn't garden anymore that well out just in a big garden, so she brought grow boxes. Have you ever used grow boxes?
Yes, we use. Well, it's just almost
This is like a raised bed.
It's like a raised bed or a container or anything like that. I mean, you just have to keep them watered on a regular basis and fertilized because they don't have the ground to pull any type of water or nutrients from. Can I cover plants with pine straw and leaves to keep them from freezing? Yes, you can do that. I've done it many times.
What big projects do we have next? He's going to finish a lot of
I'm going to finish a lot of little projects before I start any more big projects.
We've got some ideas on a couple of things. But every time I turn around, he's going, I could, and I'm like, no, finish projects. We'll talk about the I coulds later. So he's got several ideas. Just stay tuned.
Yeah. Vicky says, Danny, have I tapped trees to make syrup? We don't have trees down here to tap to make syrup out of. We have maple trees, but we don't have that 40-degree temperature and that shock that you need from freezing down to 40 degrees to make the sap start flowing like that. So we don't do that in the South.
What type fish did you stock your pond with?
We were just looking at that a few minutes ago. We stocked it with a hybrid bass, which is a very aggressive, fast-growing bass. We used a red-eared bluegill, the sunfish, and
catfish in
the front, the channel cats, and the tuffy minnows, and let's see, was there anything else?
I don't know, but
shell crackers. We put shell crackers in.
I told him this afternoon I was outside. I closed up the greenhouses and I was looking at the pond, and we'd been out there off and on watching the fish all day, and I was waiting to see one pop, and nothing happened. So I turned around to walk in, and I heard, and I mean just that huge sound, and I turned back around, saw the tail going back in the water, and I come in, I said, Danny, I said, we have dolphins, and he just cracked up.
No.
So it looked like a dolphin going back in the water, a little small dolphin.
Jan wants to know which is better for growing, containers or grow bags of the same size. In my opinion, grow bags are real easy to use. And then when you get through, they can just fold up to nothing and be stored away. It depends on how much space you have. If you have plenty of space, I would just use the containers. But if you don't have a lot of space, I would use the grow bags.
Okay, they want to know about sweet potatoes starts. When do you see them? They planted weeks ago and still no shoots. It's been kind of cold.
It's been too cold. Ours today, just today, started cracking the ground just a little bit, and they've been in the ground almost a month. So it's just because the ground is so cold right now.
Yeah. Yeah, the South can't, it hadn't leveled out. Usually we can plant sweet potatoes and get them within what, in less than a month?
In less than a month, yeah.
But the temperature gets hot and turns cold, and gets hot and turns cold. Like we've had a fire for 3 days now.
Would a juicer machine work for sorghum or sugarcane juice separation? It probably would. It would just take a long time to get enough out of it to do anything with.
Do you use wicking in your containers?
No, I don't do. Mine are not set up as wicking tubs like Mr. Leon shows on his channel. Although I've talked to a lot of people who use those and they say they're having fantastic luck with them. Mine was done before I found Mr. Leon, and mine's been working fine, so I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
What type of watermelon?
I am growing yellow meated watermelons. I'm growing one right now called a little baby doll.
From House Tool.
From House Tool. I have another one that I ordered from Shumways, I think, and I forgot the name of it.
It was something yellow. It's a yellow.
Maximum pollinating distance for my apple trees. My neighbor has one, but it's about 100 yards away. You should still be fine. The bees will go that far.
Can you recommend a grinder to grind cornmeal? I just know I didn't like the Wonder Mill.
The Wonder Mill was a no for us. Matter of fact, we got rid of it right after we got it. It made too much of a mess.
I hated the Wonder Mill.
Right now, we just have a hand grinder that we use.
We have 2 different kinds.
Yeah, actually, we have 2. I have an antique one that's a Black Hawk, and it works really good. And then I have another one that's a newer one that works really good. It's just that you have to turn them by hand.
Cause mainly I kind of leave my squash in the greenhouse if you can for at least a week, and if they're not gonna get too big.
I've seen something about
Mr.
trash.
John started his in his hoop house, and he's already pulled 50. The year we started ours in the greenhouse,
Yeah,
we
we actually
started
started
them
in January.
January and was pulling like in the end of February. In the greenhouse, they'll grow real fast, but Danny had his out in the field, well, in your hotbed, and we thought they would go with a hotbed, but it didn't start. They're just now popping.
Philippians 2:10-11 says, I have some long cuttings from my peach tree in a bucket of water. A lot of stems are reddish, but part of the stems like they're trying to root. Is it possible to start peach trees from cuttings? Yes, it's called, look up on YouTube. I don't have time to explain it right now, but look up on YouTube, air grafting. I have air grafted a mini peach tree, fig trees, plum trees, pear trees. It works fantastic. Apple trees, all of them. It's called air grafting. I don't. Do I have a video up on doing that? I think I do.
You have on the air grafting.
I have a video on air grafting, but it's easier just to Google it on YouTube, and you'll find about a dozen different ways to do it. It works really good, and you get really quick results from it.
What brand stone ground cornmeal do you use? I had Palmetto.
Yeah, Palmetto.
I think as the brand.
But I think didn't they quit?
When I went to order the flour, they did not have the flour when I needed it. But I bought Bob's Red Mill corn flour. But they do still carry cornmeal that's stone ground and the grits. How many chickens?
Okay, how many weeks from starting seed to planting out for squash? Usually about a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Will English peas 2 to 3 feet tall be protected from freeze if covered with pine straw?
If you can get them covered that high, it's a lot of pine straw, but it would do it.
Can you use a ringer washer to squish cane?
Nope.
Not strong enough.
Not strong enough.
My Cherokee tan, I saved one from the 1st of November.
Still looks perfect.
Yeah, we've got some that are still awesome.
Do the Dexter cows give milk, and do you drink the milk? Dexter cows give an A2 type milk, which is the best milk that you can get. Right now, we don't milk our cows. They're with the calves right now. We don't use a lot of milk right now, so but we can milk them because we have. We can make butter. You can make cheese, and their milk is very, very healthy. It's very heart healthy. So it's definitely, yes, Dexter's can be milked.
Miss Davis wants to know, should she bring in everything from her greenhouse? Is the greenhouse where it's going to stay above 32 degrees?
As long as you can keep your greenhouse 40 degrees or warmer, then you should be perfectly fine.
I found that my little mini greenhouse, nothing freezes in it, and we've gotten some pretty cold temps, and nothing has frozen the mini greenhouse. Some things get kind of cold, but not everything. So if it's according to how warm your greenhouse stays.
Okay. Let's see here.
I heard you can pollinate any apple tree with crab apples. Yes.
Yes, crab apples will pollinate any of your apple trees. Cindy said English peas 2 to 3 inches, not feet. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, you should be fine. You should be fine.
Ours are like this.
Yeah, ours are like that too. Well, now the plant itself, as long as it don't get below freezing too bad, it won't hurt it. You should still be fine.
I'm wondering if I need to be choosing vegetable varieties with shorter grow times.
We are definitely working on vegetable varieties that are made for a cooler climate. We're looking for vegetable varieties that have lots of disease resistance and all that kind of stuff. So we're definitely looking in that direction ourselves.
Yeah. Let me see what else I got going on.
We got to look at some of these pictures here before we get off here.
Okay, so this is Danny's new grow system from Hoss Tools.
This was amazing, guys. These things are only a little over a week old. and they are already fixing to need to be transplanted from these little cups into the solo cups.
Now,
The seeds came up in what, 2 to 3 days?
yeah, some of them in 2, 3 days was all up and going. We were just totally shocked. Um, now these type grow systems, Hoss Tools has two different ones. This is one of them.
Let me answer this. Shadow, thank you for the
Super
the
chat.
super chat. I just had a blank moment. Are your dexters registered, and are you going to sell the calves? Our dexters are not registered. We just got the Dexter cows. We were not interested in registered animals. We mainly got them to raise for beef, but we will be selling the calves that we don't need. But they're not registered. I will tell you that.
Okay, this is the other the smaller grow system, and Danny's got one watermelon, some peppers, and my Cherokee lettuce up in it.
The Cherokee lettuce came up in 2 days.
Yeah.
And we didn't know it was up, and it got a little tall and spindly on us, so we're having to kind of work with that.
But now these Hoss Tool things, we're really Hoss Tool sends us a lot of things to test for them, and so this was one of their new things. And yeah, it really does make a difference if you need to get things up in a hurry.
Do you pollinate a blueberry bush with a different variety of blueberry? Yes, you must have a different variety of blueberry to pollinate them. What type of soil is in those pots? It's called, well, it's Schultz. That's just the name of it. It's just Schultz potting mix.
Yeah, it's got a time release fertilizer and all.
Yeah, it fertilizes for up to 9 months, I think.
And y'all, I went shopping today.
Ms. One to fill our pantry back up. She went shopping in our cellar, and she actually came back and filled up the pantry for another month or two, so that
we don't have to go up downstairs.
We don't have to go back down into the cellar for at least another month.
Yeah. So I do this at least maybe once a month. I go down to the cellar. I bring 3 or 4 boxes, 5 boxes, whatever I need to fill in. And so I filled it all back in because we had a bunch of empty spots.
And Angelina says, try using your dehydrated white sweet potatoes as a gluten-free flour.
May have to do that.
We haven't tried that. We might have to try that.
Yeah.
Do you have to have male and female fruit trees in order for trees to bear fruit? Not necessarily male and female. You just have to have 2 trees of different varieties. Now, some of them are self-pollinating, but even if it's a self-pollinating one, you still need another tree of the same variety in order to have a good harvest. But some of them are not self-pollinating, so you do have to have trees of different varieties in order for them to pollinate. It just depends on the variety.
Thank you, Walter. He says he's a new subscriber. Glad no one was hurt with the dryer overheating. Miss Walter wants to know if the vinegar wash on the walls worked. Nothing really worked. It's finally dissipating. I put On Guard on it to start with, and On Guard is from doTERRA, and it should have taken the smell out of anything, and it didn't work. I took apple cider vinegar and put in there, and it just made a smoky apple cider vinegar smell. But after a few days, and I left a container of apple cider vinegar in there, it's dissipating. And our dryer came today or yesterday.
Yeah, we got our dryer in yesterday. Have we canned corn? Yes, we've canned corn.
I don't like it.
We don't particularly care for the taste of it because you have to put it in there for an hour and a half in a pressure canner. And by the time it stays in there that long, it begins to caramelize a little bit and becomes starchy. So it's not one of our favorite things to can.
I see Mark accidentally hid Susan Leeway, and then he unhid Susan. So Susan, sorry about that. Sometimes moderators are trying to click on something and it just accidentally, it's not that you did something wrong. It's just that it's happens sometimes.
Tony says, earthquake protection for pantry jars. So far, I've lived 61 years and there's never been an earthquake here. So, not to say that they won't be, because the Bible says in the last days there'll be earthquakes in diverse places, and it's quite possible we may have one. 2 hours north of here they've had them. So, I mean, we might have one day.
So people are saying rent an ozone generator. It'll take cents out. Yeah, I've seen people say that, but it's almost back to normal. I think the vinegar's doing it. It just is taking some time. I think I did it twice with vinegar and once with the On Guard. How do you grow shallots? Trying to grow them and never grown them before.
Their shallots are just like any other onion or anything like that. You have different long day, short day, day neutral varieties and stuff like this. You got to make sure what variety works for your area and make sure you get the right one to plant in your area.
Thank you, Mr. Ted the Rooster. He said he appreciates the Q&As.
So do you freeze corn mostly? Yes, Country Homestead Preacher, we freeze all of our corn. We do not do anything else with it. We just freeze it.
It's just easier.
Now we may start freeze drying some this year.
Yeah,
we haven't tried the freeze dried corn yet. So that's going to be a new thing for us to try.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out as we freeze dry things we like versus things we don't like, things that taste better canned or freeze dried or frozen and freeze dried, so that we have an idea, because not everything's going to freeze dry to our taste.
Yeah, Stacy says, when do I need to pull my elephant garlic? Probably going to, well, it depends on where you live at. If you got elephant garlic, you're probably in the South somewhere. So it's probably not going to be until late June or early July, more than likely.
Yeah, we're going to try the corn. Any recommendation for building a hurricane shelter in Mississippi?
I have built several of them. Some people put what's called a safe house inside their home. If you do, you must run a phone line into it, and it's usually 12-inch concrete blocks with rebar in them poured with concrete. It's a solid concrete building inside a house. It's usually 8 by 8 or 10 by 10 or something like that, depending on how big you want to make it. Or I have built them outside on slight slopes on hillsides. I would dig 4 feet into the hill, build one in the hillside, a regular 8 by 10 or 10 by 12 or 12 by 12, and then bring in dirt and completely cover the thing up with dirt on the outside and make a big giant mound. I've done it lots of different ways.
All right, what do I can the most of? Probably
green beans. Going to be green beans. Do we have the most of them? Do we have anything else? Or potatoes, green beans and potatoes.
Green beans would probably be top, number one. Potatoes would be second.
Yeah.
And sweet potatoes and carrots. This past year it's been carrots. Question the answers.
Thank you for the super chat. Question the answers.
Said I'm a huge fan. What top 5 crops to grow to rely on for a family of 6? We're looking at land to homestead, North Texas family. Thanks. Top 6.
Okay, top 6. One of them is going to be potatoes. Is going to be number 1. Both white potatoes, like Irish potatoes, and sweet potatoes. Probably tomatoes, because tomatoes can be used for anything.
Some type of peas or beans.
Some type of peas and beans, whether they're bush or pole beans.
Or either, if they like lima beans or field peas, something that produces a lot.
Something that produces a lot. Now, not something that is not a heavy producer. Let's see, what else would be something else? Peppers. Peppers are really easy to grow, and they just produce like crazy. And you can use them for just about anything. And the other would be probably, what did I say is going to be in Texas?
Yeah.
Probably elephant garlic, because elephant garlic is a good allium to plant, and it grows tremendously well.
Are the nutrients still in food after freeze drying? Yes.
It protects about 90% of all the nutrients that's in the plant, where when you can it or dehydrate it, you lose a lot of the nutrition out of the food.
Yeah, we were really shocked that freeze-dried saved that much of the nutrients.
What is the best way to store squash?
There isn't one.
There is no good way. You can freeze it, it turns to mush. You can can it, it turns to mush.
It's just mush.
It's just going to be mush.
You just have to add it to something. You don't really have squash when you get to. Now, you can just slice squash and put them in the freezer and take them out and fry them. But you have to not let them totally thaw out if they do, they're mush, and you're just frying mushy.
Kathy Tittle says, Kentucky Wonders or Blue Lakes? I love the Kentucky Wonder. The Blue Lake is a good bean also because we plant that one also.
But we like
But now the Cherokee Tan, not
Cherokee yellow wax bean.
Cherokee yellow wax bean is our favorite green bean of all.
Do we like the purple sweet potato? No.
No, I do not care for purple sweet potatoes.
Yeah, I don't like the white ones that much. He likes the white ones, but I like my red ones.
Now the red ones have more sugar. The white ones don't have this much sugar in them. Sometimes I don't like something so sweet.
Yeah, I like the sweet ones. I've got a sweet tooth.
What should the agriculture in Florida be focused on growing in the future? Probably more peas and beans because they're high in proteins. You're going to need that in the future with what's coming. I think that would be my number one thing that I would focus on would be different types of peas, beans, and potatoes.
Do I blanch squash before freezing? Yes. What I do is while it's still on the cob, I get my water.
Said squash. You said squash.
Corn.
Okay.
Corn I meant. I get my water hot and I put the whole cob over in it. I put a bunch of cobs in there, about 20 at a time because I got a big pot. And I boil them for 7 minutes. Then I throw them over in ice water. And then we cut it off and put it in the freezer when it's cool. So that's how we do it. We got videos on us doing corn.
Yes. Have you ever listened to the health ranger in Texas? His name is Mike Adams. Yes, we know Mike Adams, and
we've listened to him some.
We've listened to him several times.
They're telling me to use coffee grounds. Just open a bag and put in the room. It would take the smell out. I'll try it. I got plenty of coffee.
JJV says they like pickled squash. Now we don't.
I don't pickle.
We don't pickle very much except cucumbers. We make a few pickles out of them.
Danny likes the rattlesnake beans.
I do like the rattlesnake beans. I love growing them. I love picking them. I love eating them.
We haven't tried the greasy beans. Didn't Jared from
Fruity Lick sent me some greasy beans. I just haven't had a chance to plant them yet because I don't want them to cross pollinate.
Yeah, we've got all kinds. My greenhouse has 2 different kinds in them right now. Let's see, where are we at? How long do you keep your canned goods before moving them to the cellar? What I do is when I can something, I take it to the cellar and I rotate out. The stuff that's on my shelves here in the house is the oldest stuff I have. If it's 2018, 2019, I'm bringing that stuff up to eat now. All my stuff I can in 2020 and 21 is going down to the cellar.
Okay, do I use inoculant on my peas and beans? Yes, I believe in inoculant. It like doubles the harvest. What is the best thornless blackberry for East Central Mississippi? Freedom. It's called Freedom Blackberry. They come from Gurney's. The best blackberry I've ever come across in my life. Second to that would be the Arkansas Traveler. Those are the 2 that I highly recommend. Now, they're thornless.
Okay, I was going to show them this. This is from the backside where the cabin is. I took this picture so y'all can see the peaches in the foreground are blooming back out where the pond is.
The peach tree on the right's got peaches almost as big as a dime.
Yeah, and out by the pond pier is was that crabapple blooming?
That's a crabapple blooming over on the other side by the pier. The mulberries are by the thing.
Okay, can you read that one?
Okay, Shadow, we appreciate the super chat. Add shredded zook to spaghetti sauce when canning. Will extend the amount of sauce, and the kids and husband can't tell that there are not veggies in the sauce. Hey,
I've done that before. I put not zucchini. What did I put in it? It was something else similar to it.
I remember, but
I'm drawing a blank. I did eggplant.
Eggplant.
I put eggplant in mine, and nobody knew the difference.
Cindy said, I missed the blackberry varieties. Okay. Freedom, Blackberry, and Arkansas Traveler. Those are the 2 that I highly recommend. We have both of them, and them things produce abundantly.
Now I'm starting to get sleepy. Oh, I forgot. I hadn't showed a couple of things yet. My daughter sent this. I saw this on Facebook, and I made a comment under it. I would need more that this truck wouldn't hold the flowers I needed. This is all my grandkids. Can they see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta come up a little higher with it. Okay.
This is my biological grandkids. All of them. All across the back of the truck and all under the word Nana to get them all in there. That doesn't include Danny's. That doesn't include Steps. And we got a lot more than that, y'all.
Where did we buy our Cherokee yellow wax beans? We got them from Shumway's.
Yeah, we found them at Shumway's. Last week I told y'all about Down Home coffee. This is it. Smells great, so I've got something to open and put in the utility room. I told y'all about those, but I forgot to show. They sent us cups. This one, let me see if I can get it turned around. It has One Nation Under God all the way, you know, the flag and One Nation Under God. And then they sent, I can't get it where it'll show it. There, Deep South Homestead. Now we have two Deep South Homestead. The Country Homestead Preacher sent us a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then this company sent us these. The ones Country Homestead Preacher sent have orange handles and orange inside. These are just white. But we got cups. I like cups.
I still have canned tomato sauce from 8 of 2018. Can I still open it this year and use it?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah. We use it a lot older than that.
I would say 5 years. Just rotate it out.
Yeah. What do we think about dehydrated meats?
I don't dehydrate.
We don't. Meats. I think say if you dehydrate meat, you end up with jerky.
Yeah.
You know,
now I freeze dried some, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the freeze dried was great.
I canned meats, and we like the canned meats. Now our dryer guys that were here the other day, we showed them all our pantry and all this stuff, and we were talking to them because they had never seen canned foods, and so we got to share with them about our canned foods, and they were just amazed at it, y'all.
Shadow says they're having withdrawals. Dirt withdrawals.
Oh, is your coffee organic? I really, yeah.
Let me say something about organic. Be careful with the word organic. It can say organic on it, which means that it was technically grown organically, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it was harvested organically.
Yeah.
Especially if something comes from China, do not trust it because it may have been grown organically in China, but when it is shipped to the United States, it must be chemically treated with different pesticides and stuff like that before it can cross into the United States, and they'll still put on it that it's organic. So don't be fooled by the word organic. Now it can say USDA organic, and technically speaking, let's say technically, that means that it was grown and produced and harvested organically. But I have called companies that sell organic stuff, and they could not tell me whether it was harvested organically, because one of the harvesting processes in any foods out there is that they spray everything with Roundup to kill it all at once before they harvest it. So be very careful about that. Call any company that you have any question about and ask them, was it harvested organically? Okay,
on the coffee, it says it's proudly roasted and packaged and distributed in the USA. Check out downhomecoffee.com. This stuff smells amazing. I don't know. I do know that all the proceeds for this coffee goes to help, what did I tell you, missions.
Yeah.
They build buildings for places and churches and things like that. 100% of it, because they have a big medical supply company that pays the bills. So all the money for this coffee goes to missions.
Okay. How far away do you need to plant your bean to keep them from cross-pollinating? I use a 100-yard rule. 100 yards is what we usually do here at Deep South Homestead, because bees can easily travel 100 yards, you know, and the wind or anything like that. So we just use the 100-yard rule. We don't plant many varieties of anything when we plant, though. I will say that.
I've seen several of them are saying that they've eaten things that are pretty old. I've got a video over on Crazy Days where when Amanda was here, she and I we opened pickles that were really several years old, like 7 or 8 years old, and they were strong. They were still good, but strong, strong pickles. So check out Crazy Days.
Yeah, and they're my green beans only make a few beans every type I've tried. What can I do? I'm in Florida. Green beans are a cool weather crop. You've got to make sure you plant them when the weather is cool. And you've got to make sure you have plenty of nitrogen and phosphorus to them when you plant them so that they get a real quick start, they grow up and get over with really quick. And it's got to be cool. Anything over 70 degrees and green beans do not do good.
Okay,
All right.
Are we getting close? I wanted to mention Eric from Life and Farmland. We've been asking for prayer for Eric for months now. He ended up getting his kidney transplant this week. He came through the surgery fine. The donor came through the surgery fine. Both of them got to go home. And so we're asking y'all just keep praying that everything goes well. He's went home with a sack full of medicines, you know, because of the transplant. So y'all just keep him in mind still. But Eric did get his kidney, so he even looks better the last couple of days.
Shadow says, have you done a soil? Well, he's talking about jewels.
He's asked. Mr. Danny said it would increase. They're talking.
Okay, they're talking between themselves.
Yeah, they're talking. Would corn need to be more than 100 yards if it's two different types?
Yes, specifically corn. Corn will cross-pollinate in a heartbeat.
What about blackberries and wild blackberries?
Blackberries and wild blackberries you shouldn't have a problem with because they're two different cultivars. Can I plant potatoes before the storm? I am in zone 7B. You should be able to. Just make sure you keep them up out of the ground where they won't rot. You make them up on a bed.
Yeah.
Okay, we have got to get off here, guys. We're already past 9 o'clock.
Any more prayer requests?
Any prayer requests, you need to throw them up. And we'll try to, pray for as many as we can.
Yeah. We have really been blessed this week because we got to talk to the 2 dryer guys yesterday, and then we got to visit with Sheena today and her husband. And y'all, that's what it's about is sharing with others and just giving. I mean, even with y'all, we get to help y'all what little bit we can, answering questions and stuff. We've tried to stay on topics when we put topics up, and I don't think y'all really care what the thumbnail is and what the title is. You just want questions answered and somebody to kind of lay it out there for you. And so that's what we kind of try to do on our things here.
Gemini says, pray for her MRI.
Yeah, so she can be. Shadow says, please keep Heather, Con, and family needy homesteading. Yeah, okay.
Miss Heather, after the loss of her husband, yes.
And I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. My friend Tammy, we asked for prayer for her for the last month or so. She got a really good report. They're not seeing any leukemia in her blood this week. So hopefully she's going to be doing better and coming home.
Yeah, we want to continue to pray for Wanda's, it'd be her ex-husband, her children's father. He's been having a lot of problems, Wayne. So we want to keep him in our prayers. Let's see.
No Insanity wants you to take a dip in the pond. I tried to get him to this week.
Prayers for my family members with organ failures, struggling depression, or even mess. Needs energy to get things done.
Sherry Mize got hurt this past week.
Oh.
Got hurt during the storm
last week. Oh, wow.
We didn't know. We do need to pray for a lot of the people.
A lot of people had storm damage. Yeah.
Thank you, Homestead Paradise.
Sophia said her brother Joe's dealing with alcoholism, PTSD. I understand what post-traumatic stress disorder is. I deal with it on a daily basis.
Cindy said 74-year-old brother. Mimsy said her husband's dad in the nursing home. They got to see him the other day for the first
Oh,
time.
that's a blessing.
For the country and the evil in office. Yeah.
It's husband
I am of me.
Glenn.
They won't let me comment post. Sometimes I don't know what happens if you write it too long. Can you condense it down a little bit? There's a limit to how many letters you can type or something in comments.
Pray for my husband Glenn. He has AFib.
Country girl needs prayer for rheumatoid arthritis.
My son had a widowmaker heart attack 2 weeks ago at home, but needs prayer. Whoa. Okay.
That's my dad had.
Her dad had that same problem. They had to go in and put stents in him and everything.
Stringfield Ridge grandbaby. Yes.
Yes.
That was the other one. I knew there was another one. Stringfield Ridge's grandbaby was born premature, and it was, I think, in the NICU, back in the NICU today or something.
Mitzi says she was diagnosed with congestive heart failure.
Yes.
Okay, so she probably has a lot of fluid around the heart.
Yes, she messaged me yesterday or today. I've lost track of emails, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Grandson for salvation. Okay.
Pray for Mr. Wilson.
Guys, there's just so many. I'll never remember them, but the Lord knows them. And what we do a lot of times is I can go back and look at the chat once the video is put up on YouTube, and I can go back and see the names, and I can pray for everybody. And it just, it's amazing that we all have so many needs, and that's a great thing about God. God is not limited. He can deal with it all, because he's just great. He's everything, and that makes it. That's what makes God as special as He is. He's omnipresent. He's omnipotent. He's all these things. He's all knowing. He's all loving. He doesn't. The thing I love about God is He loved me before I loved Him, and I guess that's the one thing that brings me so much joy is He didn't ask me to become anything before He loved me. He loved me the way I was to start with, and that's always beyond my comprehension. So
T Hand's wife has cancer, and Anointed, I didn't get the rest of the word, has poison ivy. I've been helping him fence all week, and he found poison in several places, and Wanda stood back and watched him while he worked, and I don't get near poison. That's something I just can't handle.
Okay.
Caitlin says her ankle
was broke. I broke both of mine, so I understand. I broke one of mine completely off. So I know what that is. Yeah. Okay. My stepdad has heart issues. Okay. Glad I've seen that. Father, we want to come to you tonight, Lord. We want to just take this opportunity to lift up your name and praise your name. And Lord, you're the only, the one, the true living God. There are no other gods before you, Father. And Father, sometimes I just get caught up in the Spirit, Lord, when I begin to pray, and I'm amazed at the things that you can do with a person, Father, and how that the Baruch, the Spirit, Lord, how that it can take control of your life, and how that it can actually give you the words to say, and Father, the Jewish prayer, the Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam b'mitzvah b'tzivanu el hadlit shir Shabbat. Father, great, it just, blessed is the name of the Lord our God, who has created the heavens and the earth, and has commanded us, to worship and to keep the Sabbath, Lord. All these things, Father, I think about on a daily basis, and Father, I ponder them in my heart, and Lord, I draw closer to you as I think about these things, and Father, and tonight I want to draw close to you, and I want you to look at the chat tonight with me, Father, and I want you to look at all the things that was mentioned here tonight. Lord, there was so many needs tonight. Oh my word, it was unreal at the amount of needs tonight. Lord, there were physical needs here tonight. There were spiritual needs here for salvation tonight. There were emotional needs here tonight, Lord, for depression. There were financial needs mentioned here tonight, or all these things were mentioned here tonight. And I pray in the name of Christ that you would answer each and every one of these in a way that would bring glory and honor to the kingdom of heaven and to these individuals, Father. Some needed physical healing, some needed emotional healing, some needed financial healing, and some needed spiritual healing, Lord. All these areas we pray for tonight in the name of Christ, and we ask that you would do them. Lord, our country needs spiritual healing. I don't pray for our leaders anymore, Father. You know that. I have quit praying for the leaders. I begin to pray that the leaders be removed from office. The ones that are not fit to be in office, Lord, even if it means their life, Father, if they can't do the job, they need to be removed from office, Father. Our country was founded on the very principles of an almighty God. And Lord, right now it's being ruled by the devil. And Father, we rebuke the devil in the name of Christ, and we ask that if you would, remove the evil ones from office, Lord, and put us some people into office that are good, godly people. Father, it is written in Scripture that you have said that you put into office those who you want into office. And Lord, I know many times you use us through the voting process to do that. And we also know that sometimes when a nation cries out for certain things, you give it to them, whether it's the best for them or not. Like Israel cried out for a king, and he said, I've given you prophets and priests, but they wanted a king, so he gave them a king. And Lord, we've seen what happened when you gave them a king. He said, your people will become servants. They will become slaves. They will become all these things. And that is exactly what happened. And Father, tonight, we're praying for leaders in our country that can run our country in a godly way. And Father, I pray for the people of the victims of the storms this past week that lost so much stuff, Father. I pray that you can help them to get their lives back in order. Father, I'm praying for the storm that's coming this coming week and this weekend, that it will, Lord, I'm praying in the name of Christ that it will fizzle out, that it will do no damage, Father. And I know that you can answer that prayer. There are many of us that have our plants out, our trees have fruit on them, Lord. All these things, we are waiting patiently to be able to have a good harvest this year. And we're praying in the name of Christ that this storm that is projected to come through, that it does not get as cold. And it does not dump the snow that they're talking about. And it does not get the severe weather that it's talking about, Lord. I'm praying that you can override it. If it's man-made, override it, Father, and stop it before it happens. Go with us throughout the night. Help us to be able to rest comfortably tonight. And Father, bless us all, physically, spiritually, and financially, Lord, and emotionally, as we try to lay our heads down tonight and do the best that we can to rest and rise up tomorrow to worship you once again. We ask this in the name of Christ. Amen.
How
All
we're
right.
protecting our peach trees from the cold. There's nothing we can do with our trees. We've got pears full.
Yeah, now,
they've already bloomed. They've got little pears. Huckleberries are totally bloomed.
Everything
all over them.
Yeah, we have everything.
Peaches have peaches on them. The mayhaws already have mayhaws. We even have apricots, which we were told would never grow here, and they have apricots.
We have apricots on our trees.
First time.
The only thing that we can possibly do would be to, if we stayed out in the cold at night, would be to spray water on the trees and cover them with water. And
but we would have to go all over the property.
We would have to carry water. Now we have a spray rig for our tractor. We could do that.
Yeah.
And it's something that we'll watch closely, and we'll see if that's what we need to do or not.
But I mean, even our pear trees are so tall. I don't know if we could even reach.
Yeah, it would reach the top of them.
Will it spray that far?
Yeah, it'll spray up to 20 feet.
Just means a cold night.
I mean, it would mean a cold night on the tractor.
Yeah. But it's doable.
It's doable.
We're just praying that it does not get that cold. If it stays in the 35 and plus, we're okay. We can handle it, I think. So.
Danny, have you ever had a dream of enlightenment? Yes, if you watch my Patreon channel, I told a story on my Patreon channel about a vision and a dream that the Lord gave me back in the early 1980s about this country. And I have prepared for that ever since I was given the vision and the dream.
I'm about ready to fall asleep, y'all. I really am. But you know, all we can do is prepare for the best and do what we can do. Um, all our fruit trees, berry trees, everything is good to go.
Adam's Eden Farm says, "What storm? Sorry, I didn't hear. We have a polar vortex headed our way. Another Arctic blast. The end of this week into, well, let's put it this way: the end of March into the 1st of April."
Yeah, we're just hoping it don't do like last week.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Praying that it's not like last week was. The only saving grace we have is that we're not going to be as hot ahead of it as the last one was.
Yeah, so maybe not as many tornadoes.
Yep. So anyway, we got to get off here, guys. Y'all want to go to bed. We want to go to bed. Everybody needs to get some sleep. And it has been an unusually cold winter. It's been an unusual one. It ain't been unusually cold for us. It's just been unusual.
Yeah.
The periods of time are different.
So just keep an eye on the weather.
Watch the weather. Watch your plants, guys. In the next.
Protect them if you have to, if you can.